Hey, welcome back to the channel. It's been a few weeks since the newest AQ modifiers, the most difficult modifiers, have come into the game. I've had plenty of time to re-examine if Sunspot is still the top don of diss track, and I'm here to tell you he most definitely is. It's going to take a new challenger to dethrone him, and until that happens, this guy, in my opinion, is the best of the best, and we're going to take a look and we're going to show you how and why. Don't forget to hit like and to subscribe so you don't miss any of the content and you are notified for when we do the subscriber giveaway. Now let's get to the fights. All right, the first modifier we're going to take a look at is the So Saith Doom. This was right after the big nerf of that modifier. A lot of people struggled with it the first week. And we weren't totally sure how it was going to work out. The wording of it was even a little off. I brought in a Fantastic Four champion because I thought it was going to give me more time to complete the prompts, but clearly that did not seem to be the wording at all. And the reason I'm showing you this fight is this is the Gwenpool right before the first mini boss, right? A lot of health, the very long timer, and I wanted to show you how little attention I even paid to the So Saith Doom prompts. I mean, the prompts anyways are intercept, apply a debuff, use acquire power, and dodge an attack. You're doing all of those things with Sunspot anyways. Maybe you're not dodging too many attacks because of his potential for the perfect block, but even if you're only doing 75% of that stuff, chances are it's going to work out just fine. We're not even a full minute into the fight and it's already almost over. The guy just does so much damage, and he has the utility to handle this whole lane all week. Make sure you take a look at the last fight, which is going to be taking down a noted CrossBones, which is, in my opinion, the hardest fight. All right, so Karnak just magically turned into Blade. The reason is I was making this video, and honestly, I was getting bored because no one wants to see Karnak be fought 3 or 4 times, and I did want to show you the variety of the global modifiers. So I went back, edited out a lot of the Karnak fights, and I think at least 2 of the Luke Cage fights. So we could really show you the most difficult fights. You can get a sense of what's going on here. And the most difficult fights are the Blade fight. He starts with the 2 bars of power, and of course his ability to shrug those debuffs faster. As you can see, I got myself into a little bit of trouble there, but just reset. And then we're going to show the crossbone fights as much as possible. So here we are. We're still stacking our flare states as much as possible and finishing it off with an SP2. If you've seen our previous video on Sunspot, diss track, and AQ, you're going to see it's not that much different. You just had to modify some slight things in the way you're playing Sunspot in order to continue him just being a dominant force on this lane. He applies so many incinerate debuffs that even CrossBones, with his ability to shrug them off, he can't keep up. CrossBones cannot keep up with the damage. We don't need to do the parry stun. We don't need to hold our heavy. We can just play. We've got plenty to solar charges, and this fight's going to be over. It looks like in less than a minute. And again, I like to bring this up. I know. I have an R3 Sunspot here. Not everyone's got one. R2s are really strong. A maxed out 5-star, really strong. Even an R4, strong. So we're moving on to the next global modifier, which is the cascading failure. Right? When you crit, you're going to get that timer window where if you crit again, you're going to get a debuff. And if you do that too many times in a row, you'll eventually end up with a degen debuff. And you don't want to do that. It's bad. Don't do that. So just play a little more patient, right? The fights were ending in less than a minute. You don't need to finish your fights in a minute. There's no reason for that. You see here, I need to take my own advice. I almost got myself in trouble. Cost myself a lot of items for no reason whatsoever. Should have backed out and started over like I'm doing now. The timer's only 2 minutes long, or 2 seconds long. It's not that long. And so if there's any advice I'd give, it's make sure you do your best to keep your opponent in their corner. You can hit their block or do things like that. That way, just in case you absolutely do need to hit them, you're not making a decision about being in your corner or taking the debuffs. But again, being a little more patient, if we saw that the crit had happened and maybe pulling back a few times, that fight was over in about 50 seconds. we'll move on to the blade fight. Maybe it's going to be a little more difficult. Starts with the 2 bars of power, so I'm sure we're going to try to bait it if we can. Boy, I'm wrong. But eventually we will bait it, right? There we go. Not sure what I was thinking there. Probably getting a little too aggressive. Ah, I remember. So I wanted to take the CrossBones that's next. I wanted to try to take it noted. And my my lane clearing mate battery there, he's an excellent player. And it felt like we were always on at the exact same time. And so he was always getting that node down. And I should have just DM'd him and asked him to leave it up. But the good news is, you're going to see it at the end. We are going to take that CrossBones noted. And I should have just told him that so I wasn't hurrying and doing some really not smart things like you saw me do at the start of that fight. But the relevant part, the reason we're even showing the fight is you see how quickly it was over. It's done. It's done. And now we're going to move on to the next global node, which was Turn the Tide. This one for me and the Parry Curse were the most difficult, the ones I had to modify the way I was playing by far the most. What I ended up deciding with the Turn the Tide was that I had literally no clue what Kabam decided was the end of a combo. I spent time trying to get it right. I would end in a light, which I often do. I'd do the 4 hit and I'd back out. And then I'd come in and do a 5 hit combo, and the special that was required wouldn't change. So for the most part, I decided, screw it, that I'm not going to mess with it and try to do this complicated thing that I can't seem to figure out, when I have a champion who does plenty of damage anyway. What does it matter? If the timer happens to work out right, or if I can manipulate the fight into a way where I can throw the special that happens to be called for at this time, like I'm about to do right now, then I'll do it. I mean, there's only 3 specials that are required. There's only 3 options. Over the course of 3 minutes, you're probably going to end up lined up, right? Or you can parry stun, or you can delay a little bit. You know what's going to be coming, right? If it's special 1, then it can only be 3 or 2. And what I saw, and I don't know if this is how it's supposed to be, but I saw that if it had been 1 and then it was 3, then it was definitely going to be 2 afterwards. And so you'll see that over and over, just kind of controlling the fight, remembering that you're in control, staying calm. If it happened to work out well, sure, I would throw the special that was asked. Both the specials do plenty of damage. The incinerate damage does great on its own. And I'd get the fight over. If it took me a minute, or it took me a minute and a half, or it took me 2 minutes, what do I care? I'm saving items, and I'm getting my lane cleared. So we had the intercept there. The special 1 was what was asked for. I happened to have a bar of power, so I thought, I'll throw the special 1. I'm not going to try to race to get to the special 2 now. There's no reason for that. We went to the special 3. I'm just going to fight my normal fight. We're 50 seconds in. He's already in the 30s as far as his health is concerned. This is going beautiful. Why am I going to sweat trying to make the special that's required to go to special 2 when it seems like I can't figure it out anyways? I'm not able to figure out what Kabam means, and I'm sure I will, and I eventually do, but at this point I hadn't. Okay, so now we're going to move to what I think is the best showcase of why Sunspot is so incredible for not only this lane, but these modifiers. The guy can just handle it. This CrossBones is noted, and he has the ability to shrug all of those debuffs. You would think there's no way this is going to happen. There's no way Sunspot's going to be able to do this much damage, especially with me not being able to manipulate the Turn the Tide requirement for which special is required. But watch this. Watch how this goes. I'm going to play it the exact same way you've been seeing. Right? Yeah, there's going to be some intercepts, but I see that this special 1 is what's required right now. I need to bait CrossBones special 1 though. That's my priority. My priority is getting him where I want him. I'm not going to worry so much about that timer. It worked out, so I threw the special 1. Now it's special 2. I'm not going to sweat it. Look how much health is already off of CrossBones. I know that I need to bait that special 1. That's the way for me to play this fight. So I'm gonna focus on that. I'm gonna focus on what I can control and let the damage just do its work. Now, we just had 3, and now we're at 1. it's going to be 2 next. So if I can just delay this fight enough, I don't want to get to my special 3. And I did it, but here I messed up. And that's okay. What do we talk about when you mess up? You don't freak out. You just stay calm. Good chance you're going to figure something out. So I'm thinking, all right. Fortunately, I have this long SP3 animation for me to tell myself, just calm down. You're fine. You're going to get this. I know you really wanted to do this for your channel, so it might cost you some items. Big deal. At least you're going to get to show your channel how this can work out. So now special 3 is what's required, but I have a bar power. And look at that. So I know, okay, I can go in and let me throw this special 1 because that's going to work out. That's what was required. And look at CrossBones' health. We haven't thrown a single special 2. This has all been 2 special 1s and just regular incinerate damage. So now we're on the special 3. I do need to get CrossBones above a bar power. Here's what we're talking about hitting into his block. Not only does that get him on his side of the map, but it gets him where we need him to be. Now I'm noticing we had special 3, now we have special 1. Slow this down. There's no hurry. Learn from my mistake earlier in the fight. Now I just need him to throw that special 1, and boom. This guy's the best. I have absolutely no doubt about it. He's the king. He's the top don of Diss Track. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you learned something. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and follow on Twitter, Vega Gaming 583. Take care.